All right, in this next section, we are going to talk about how to find exact answers. Okay? And we are going to start talking about our unit circle. Okay? So a unit circle is a circle that is placed on our graph, so on a two-dimensional coordinate system, with the center at the origin, so at 0, 0, and the radius is going to be 1. Okay, so here I have an example of that unit circle. So this would be the y-axis, here is the x-axis, my origin at 0, 0, and then this radius is 1, or I could use this line here. Okay. So to start with, we're going to find the exact answers for sine of 45, cosine 45, and tangent of 45. So to do that, we're going to start by drawing an angle in standard position. So we did this in the previous section. So remember, this is my initial side, and then this terminal side, I'm going to rotate it so that this is a 45-degree angle. Okay. And then once we put this angle in position, we are going to make a right triangle. So wherever this point is on my circle, I'm just going to draw a line straight down, or depending on which quadrant we're in, it would be straight up to the x-axis. Okay, so we're always going to draw it back to the x-axis. Okay, so that's what this little dotted line here is showing. Okay, so this is a right angle. And again, on this circle, we are dealing with the unit circle, so the radius is always going to be 1. So this is the radius, so that has a length of 1. Now what we need to do is figure out the other sides. So here I have a 45-degree angle. I have a right triangle now, which means that the angle at the top is also 45 degrees, and that these two sides are going to be congruent to each other. So to solve this, we're just going to use our rules for that 45, 45, 90. So here I have the hypotenuse, and then each of these would be a leg. Okay. So our rule from going from the hypotenuse to a leg is to divide by the square root of 2. So we are taking 1 and dividing it by the square root of 2, and then we would need to simplify that. So I'm just going to rationalize. So then we would have the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so that means that this length here is going to be the square root of 2 over 2, and this length is going to be the exact same. Okay. Now, if you need to, you can take that triangle and make it a little bit bigger and draw it on the outside if you want when we start doing this part. So if you wanted to do that, I'm going to put in that same position. So we're just going to draw a right triangle. So 45, 45, 90 still. This was 1. This is the square root of 2 over 2, and this is square root of 2 over 2. Okay. Now, to find our exact values, this is just like solving our triangles. Okay, so this is the angle that I'm using. Okay, so now I have to use the opposite side, which is across from it. This is the hypotenuse because it's across from the 90, and then this is the adjacent side. So if you need to, you can write SOHCAHTOA again. So SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so if I start with the sine of 45, so here's my angle that is equal to the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So I would take the square root of 2 over 2 and divide it by 1. Now, if I'm dividing by 1, nothing's going to change. So this is really just the square root of 2 over 2. And then for cosine of 45, that is the adjacent side over the hypotenuse. So again, this is my angle. I'm taking the adjacent side and dividing it by the hypotenuse. So that means I'm taking the square root of 2 over 2, dividing it by 1 again, which since we're dividing by 1, is just going to be the same as the numerator. So square root of 2 over 2 is also my answer for cosine. Okay. And then for the tangent of 45, that is the opposite side over the adjacent side. So we are taking the square root of 2 over 2 and dividing it by the square root of 2 over 2. Now remember, we don't divide fractions. Instead, we multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. So this, we're really doing the square root of 2 over 2 times, and then if I flip this, this will be 2 over the square root of 2. So multiplying straight across, this gives me 2 square root of 2 over 2 square root of 2. So each of these just cancel out, and if we divide something by itself, we end up with 1. Okay. So the exact answer for sine of 45 is going to be the square root of 2 over 2. Same thing with cosine of 45, and then tangent of 45 is equal to 1. Now, if you're second guessing yourself, you can use your calculator to help you. So to do that, I'm just going to take the answer that I think it is. So square root of 2, square root of 2, sure, arrow out, divided by 2, enter. And then I'm just going to type the sine of 45. And my decimals ended up being the same, so I know my exact answer is correct. Okay. Same thing if we go down to this tangent. Tangent of 45 is 1, so I got that one correct.